Alright, so I'm glad I didn't wait for this to load up because it took a long time to compile those shaders. But you can kind of see here, this is a scene that NVIDIA had put together with Quixel, I believe, and really shows off the indirect lighting. And when you play this, you get a lot more. But let's just go and take a look at the difference this makes really quick here when they set up the lights and the surfaces that are emissive to light the scene versus just trying to place lights and fill lights and everything like that. So let's look for our post-process volume. And let's disable these real quick and just see the difference. So I'll turn off, I mean, look at that. That's all indirect lighting. Such a difference. I mean, that looks like what you would think would come out on a computer, but then you get a really nice indirect lighting. And let's go and turn off the specular as well. So this is what we would get if we were just using regular lighting inside of Unreal. And of course, you could do other methods inside of Unreal to try and get a good realistic look. But just the fact that this is dynamic, it updates as things are moving. I mean, yeah, it puts a hit on the graphics card, but especially if you're using sequencer or you're designing your levels very efficiently, this technology is so awesome. So I'll go and play this real quick just so you can kind of see, and I'll do this full screen. And you just see how nice all of the lighting, indirect lighting, everything kind of works here. So anyway, I won't keep this anymore, but you can kind of see when I point the light at this red, the red light bleeds on there, but when it's not, anyway, just so cool. All right, so I'm going to quit rambling on about that. So that's all we were waiting on for that. I'm going to go ahead and stop that, and I'm going to go ahead and yeah, I'll go ahead and exit out of this, so I won't save anything. But that's an example file. All right, so I already kind of had these opened up here, and what we need to do for the Substance plugin. So inside here, here's the Substance plugin for 417. Again, you get the newest one from that forum page. Just want to match up your versions. And I was having a problem where even though I was matching up the 417 with 417, it was still getting an error. I'm going to do it what I was trying first that wasn't working first, so you can see what the problem is. And maybe, hopefully, you won't have that problem, but just in case you'll know what to do in case that does happen. So the Substance plugin has two things. It has a README that was actually really helpful. And this is the actual suggestion that the gentleman gave me, Dan. And this did end up working, but it wasn't. It was like the last resort type of thing that I wasn't really confident in doing, but he kind of walked me through it. So anyway, so the placement for this is you can see the folders under Runtime and then Substance. If you want it to load with every project you do in this custom version of Unreal, you want to put it in the engine folder. You can put it in the project folder for a particular project, but I'm going to go ahead and do it in the actual folder itself. So it's under the folder for the Unreal build, the engine folder, plugins, runtime, which this is under, and then I'm just going to drag in, I'll just copy it, Control-C, and then Control-V, and I have the Substance folder in there. So now this is not going to work, but I'll go ahead and show what happens when it doesn't work and then how to fix it. So I'll go ahead and do UE4 editor. Actually, you know what I'll do is I'll go ahead and load up my project from earlier, just that starting scene that I did. And you'll be able to see the error that I was getting and then how we'll go ahead and remedy that. All right, so this should load up pretty quick since it's a small scene. There we go. So it says new plugins are available. I was like, yes, all right, this works. It's great. I'll go and click on Enable. It has to restart for it to take effect. It's going to restart, but it says, oh, this project requires a Substance plugin, which is not compatible with the current engine version. Would you like to disable it? I'm going to say no, and Unreal no longer is going to load up correctly. I think it's going to shoot me out an error in just a little bit. Or it may not because I'm not using Substance in the scene. Yeah, there we go, because Substance core cannot be found. All right, so this is where I had to go back and forth with Dan, and I'm going to go ahead and just pull this up so you can see. So he was saying what I need to do is delete some folders when this plugin was built, specifically the binaries and the intermediate folder, and then I need to go ahead and do a couple things. So let's go ahead and do that. So inside, let's go ahead and organize these guys real quick. All right, so inside the engine, plugins, runtime, substance folder, he said to delete the intermediate and binaries folder. Yep, just double checking. So I'm going to delete those. And then he says to go ahead and run the generate project files, the batch file that we ran in the very early step. So I'll go back to my command prompt, and it was the generate project batch files right there. I'll run that again. And what this is going to do is it's going to, from one of my understanding, it's going to append into that Visual Studio file. It's going to add in that it needs to build that Unreal Engine project file. So if we go ahead and go to that folder, so engine, I'm sorry, let's go to, there we go. And we have this Unreal Engine 4 guy again. So the good part is, since we didn't delete that intermediate folder that I talked about in the last video, we're not going to have to rebuild that huge build all over again. It's just going to build the changes. If we'd had to leave that folder, we would have to start over all the way from the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and build solution. And it should go much faster. At least I'm certainly hoping so. And if this takes more than 30 seconds, I'll go ahead and stop it. Actually, I'll go and stop it now, and then I'll just continue this in the very end. But it should not take nearly the time that it took before. All right, so I'll stop recording now, and then we'll pop back to this in just a little bit. We're near the end. All right, so I stepped out very briefly. This definitely took less than 10 minutes or so, maybe less than that. But it's done. Again, I got some errors, but I don't think, just like last time, I don't think that it really affected anything. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll just minimize this for now. And let's go ahead and load up the project again and see if our Substance plugin is working now. It may ask me to load it again since it rebuilt it, but I can't quite recall, but we should be working fine now. And if that's the case, then the only thing we'll have to cover after this is how we actually can clean up the folder so we don't have a huge install. There we go. So it did load up the plugin perfectly this time. We're set to go. So again, thanks so much to Dan at Algorithmic for being like so fast and helping. It seems like he's pretty consistent. The guys at Algorithmic are, I've met them a couple times at SIGGRAPH, really friendly people. So anyway, thanks to them. All right, so you're all set here now. So you have all the NVIDIA technologies that compiled version that the other gentleman put together, and then we also have the Substance capabilities to bring in Substance source or Substance share materials in here as well, and you're all set. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, and the last step, if we wanted to clean things up, is just simply to go under the engine folder and this intermediate folder right here that I talked about in the previous video, that's 22.9 gigabytes. We shouldn't need that. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that on faith. I haven't deleted this before in the other build that I did. But let's just go ahead and test this. Let's go ahead and load up this project again. And assuming it loads up fine, then we know that you can delete that folder and save yourself quite a chunk of space. It still seems like it's definitely bigger than the base build, but we're getting the functionality we wouldn't have otherwise. Again, one of these days it might be really nice if NVIDIA compiled all their technologies together in one, but in the meantime, all right, cool. So it looks like we're fine. So on my end, after loading a few of those example projects in the Unreal folder, our final build size for this Unreal Engine version from source code to final build with the NVIDIA at Substance plugins is about 33. So it's definitely bigger than the base, but not too shabby. All right, so hopefully this was helpful. This is, again, the point of this video is to be helpful to the community, but also help me remember down the road, because there's so many times where I'd finally fumble my way through something and then I forget. So this is kind of doing myself a favor as well. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful to some of you. Hopefully it takes the burden off of trying to research how to get things working so you can just actually start working with the tools. Hope you had a good time, or at least an informative time, and I'll hopefully see the things you guys are making with this stuff. Have a good day.